Hello guys, welcome to my first video here on my channel. Today I'm just gonna be going over a very simple program here um, that we're gonna make a little window and just display some information on the screen. And this channel, I just created this channel just to pretty much um, learn as I code, and I just pretty much showing you guys um, all the progress, just documenting here all my learning journey. And yeah, so let's get started. So I have VS Code open here. This is going to be Python only. Um, Only going to be coding in Python most of the times for now. So yeah, let's just get into code. So first things first, we're gonna make a new file, and I'm gonna go down here on the corner, and I'm gonna select the language. This is the VS Code. This is a IDE. That's what they call it. And selected Python, so my IDE can understand the language Python. So, okay, down here, if you guys can see, it says Python. That means it's already recognizing Python. So I'm gonna make a very simple program first, and then I'm gonna make a little window using Tkinter. Okay, so no, actually, let me go ahead and make a window. So for anything that you're gonna do um, that requires graphical user interface, you probably need to know a little bit of libraries. So libraries are gonna be pretty much already code. It's pretty much a code that the Python community or whatever, if you're programming in Java, C++, or anything, they have big communities and they develop a lot of things. They develop a library, uh, a library, let's say in Python, right? They develop a library, and this library, they have a lot of functions, classes. It's already code for us to just use, like like ready code just to use and execute. So instead of like for example, to print something on the screen, you know, we have this is a function right here. I know this is a function because it has the parentheses, the brackets here, the parentheses, and then you can pass information inside. So let's say if you do double quotes, that means you're gonna add a text. I'm just gonna say hello world here, the most famous word people use, and I'm gonna go and hit run. But first, just make sure you save the program. Okay, anywhere in the folders of your computer. So I just click here to run. It says right here the words hello world, and that's it. And this print function here, it's already a native function within Python. Okay, so this code here, because Python was developed on top of C++, I believe, and they just made it easier for us to understand. But this is the function where we can print something on the screen. Okay, um, let's make a window of an app. There's many ways of doing this. There's many libraries, but the one library I'm going to use for this video, it's called Tkinter. It's a very famous one. And for every library that you're going to use, you have to make sure you install it. You have to just write down here in VS Code or any other, uh, you know, other environment you have. You're gonna do pip install, and then the library you want to install. I already have the Tkinter installed, but just go ahead, click pip install Tkinter. Um, it might be something like this. So mine's already installed, and I don't have to do anything. So I'm gonna go ahead for if you download the library, just keep in mind that you're gonna have to also import it. But import Tkinter, and to know how to program using Tkinter, they actually have a documentation. If you go to the Python website, they have a documentation for the library. And if you want to learn how to make, the window and put, place the buttons. Let's say if we make an application, you can make the buttons, the labels, which is just like to display information on the screen, and so on. They have everything over there. So I'm just gonna do the basic stuff here. This channel is just to it's pretty much so I can document my learning process here, and it helps me to learn better if I am somewhat teaching myself what I'm doing. So I'm gonna be learning new stuff, new coding stuff, plus sharing here with you guys. So it's pretty much like learn together journey here. Okay, so I just typed in import to Tkinter. All right, and you know it would help if you guys already have not, let's say, not beginner level. Uh, if you guys are beginner, that's fine. But if you already know some of the stuff, and in Python, in programming, that's great. But don't worry, I'm gonna explain most of the stuff I'm writing here. So import Tkinter as TK. This is basically, uh, I'm importing the library called Tkinter as TK. It's just an abbreviation. Okay, so notice how Python is pretty easy to write because it's pretty much just writing in English. But import Tkinter as TK. So instead of writing the word Tkinter, I'm just gonna write TK. I'll let you. You guys will see by now what I mean. It's just much easier. I could have just said this as Gi or as this, Code Venom, the name of this channel. It doesn't matter. Import Tkinter. Okay, so, you know, I could just. It's just an abbreviation, but let's just leave it this way here for now. TK. I don't know what this is doing here, but I don't. Just ignore that. Okay, so first things first. To make a window, we need a variable. If you guys know what a variable is, it's just pretty much think of it as a little box where you store information. So this variable you can name whatever you want. Mine, I'm just gonna say window. Usually people just say root to make this window. It's just probably the standard. I just like to call it window for now. And what I'm gonna do here, see, it already gives me the suggestion here, which is really good. So tk dot tk capital T and parentheses. This is a built-in function within this library that pretty much draws on the screen a window for us. But it's going to draw, like, as you know, programming languages, the way how programming works is that the Python, it's going to read, the interpreter, it's going to read this 2 lines of code here once. That's how it does it. It's going to read once, so it's going to display a window, a little window for me on the screen in a fraction of a second. Okay, so that's what this is what it's doing. If I play here, nothing's going to show up because it's so fast that we can't even see it just playing on the screen. So, but yeah, so why is tk.tk? So tk is the abbreviation for Tkinter. So think of Tkinter as a library, and within this library you have so many functions, so many classes, so many, I don't know what, structures, But the library is called Tkinter. So to access of the feature that I want inside this library, I'm just gonna do Tkinter dot, and let's say test, I don't know, or Tkinter dot something, That's how you access the other functions within the library. I'm doing TK because it's the abbreviation. Writing TK here as the same as Tkinter. So .tk is the, like I said, it's gonna draw the window on the screen, and like I said, it's only gonna show up for 1 second or a fraction of a second. So I need to make this a main loop. So I'm gonna do window dot main loop. Window. What is window? Window is my little window that I just created. It's this is my variable that stores this information right here. Okay, this information is basically drawing on the screen the window. So I'm gonna do window dot main loop, which the main loop is also a built-in function uh, it's a function within this library Tkinter that I'm using. So what I'm doing here is pretty much the drawing the window on a screen and looping it so it can stay steady. See what I mean? And this is a window. Can kind of resize it, which is good. So now this is gonna be our application. We can, do anything inside here um, that we want. I don't know if you guys can see it because I'm using OBS, the Streamlabs. Let me see if I can capture another thing here. Let me see, screen capture, add source. I'm not sure if you guys can see the other stuff. Just a second. Window capture. Okay, so there we go. So I guess it's gonna capture this window too. Okay. So I'm resizing it. I hope it's good on the screen. But anyway. Okay, so I have my window ready, and the cool thing when you use this library, you can you can modify everything. You can build inside this, this window. So another thing I'm gonna do is window my variable here that stores the little window. I'm gonna do another command here that's configure. No, because I want to resize it. I want to make it a. Actually, I want to do title. One thing that I learned here. Title, it's pretty much, I'm gonna name the name of my window. I'm gonna say this. I'm just gonna write code. Anything that's inside quotes, it's gonna be text. So if I go ahead and click here again, I hope you guys can see. Let me see here. I'm using OBS. But anyway, if you guys can't see it right now, it's fine. It's just a little label of my screen of the app. So another thing I'm gonna do here is, for example, if you want to add like something, um, let's start with to give the user an input, like a little box where he can put some stuff. So I'm gonna do window. Let me see. It's something called entry. I remember. I'm just gonna do. I'm gonna make a variable called input, and I'm just gonna do tk because it's my library. I'm invoking it pretty much, my library here. Dot entry, which is it's another function already within this library that draws me on the screen a little window. So I have parentheses here. Okay. It has parentheses. If it has parentheses, that means I have to pass some other instructions to it. For example, the instruction for the first thing I'm gonna do is, where is my little entry box gonna be on, on this program? I have to specify that too. So it's gonna be inside my window. Okay, my window is what? The window that I just created. So I want that entry, that little box, that's gonna be inside my window. So everything programming here, it's like little objects, I feel like. So window, and I'm gonna do, if you write here text equals, you can just like add a little text within that little box, but it's just gonna be like a label thing. So let's say here, yeah, for example, enter your name. Okay, and another thing with Tkinter, it requires you to pack everything on the screen. I'm gonna pack this. Okay, so input dot pack. You see, it gave me another parenthesis here. I don't have to do anything, but if I want to, I can pass informations. For example, where it's gonna be, like where what's it called? This entry box gonna be. I can, pad X 10 or do pad Y 10 too as well, which is gonna be, I guess, on the left hand corner of the screen. So if I do this here, so hold on. Oh yeah, so you see my little window here, it's now, you know, it now has a little box inside it. So you guys can see here. See? Now one thing that I noticed that is the little text I put here didn't work. So I have to investigate why that didn't work. I'm not really exactly sure what happened there, but we'll get into that later. So I just know now that, my entry, my tk.entry is my little entry box. So we can do like cool stuff with it. Let me run this code again. So you see right here, I can just write stuff inside. So this is a little application, little program that I'm developing. I can just, make whatever function I want inside this. I can okay, so now the next thing I want to do is, for example, add a button, you know. So it's very similar process. So let me just give it spaces here because I like to hold on. Okay, so another thing. Um, okay, so you guys can see this here. It wasn't doing this earlier. It's just because I just activated the Copilot function on this VS Code. It gives me like little recommendations what to write. It's like an AI thing. But I don't want the AI to help me too much. I use it just to learn, but I want to practice doing it myself from memory, and that's also why I'm forcing myself to record video here for you guys here. That helps me learn better. So another thing that I can do is I want to create a variable. Inside this variable, I want to store the function button. And by the way, everything that I'm creating here, this little box that I told you that I created, this entry box, it's called a widget. Everything inside Python, or I guess this library here, this button that I'm gonna write, it's called widget. It's like a little object, a little widget that's gonna be placed on the screen that we created, the tk.tk over here. So button tk, which is a library, dot button. I'm accessing the widget here. Specify that I want the widget button to be on the screen, and where I want it on the window too, on my window. Okay, and yeah, here we can do like text. Like we can just write right over here text. This is gonna be the name of the button. So let's say the button called, for example, click me. Okay, very simple. Alright, and don't forget to pack it. I'm gonna tell the variable here dot pack with to pack on the screen too. I can do pad x and pad x equals 10, pad y equals 10. I'm not sure what pad means. I think it's padding, like it's like a padding on the x axis and the y axis. So alright, there we go. So we have a little entry box and click me. It doesn't do anything because I didn't code anything else. That's all I put on the screen. It has no functions. So now I'm gonna write a little function here where I can pretty much make it do something. So for example, right here, to make a function on Python, you're gonna write this word right here called def, which stands for definition, or no, actually define. Okay, don't. So I'm defining a function, and this function I can just create anything. I can just name it anything. I'm just gonna button. No, actually, when I click that button, I want it to display something on the screen. Okay, I want it to display something on the screen. No, actually, when I click that button, let me run the program here for you guys again. When I click that button right here, I want this information right here that I write here. When I click here, I want to display this information somewhere else. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to write a function. Function, by the way, it's when you make a function, it's pretty much you write lines of code, re-executable code. That's what it is pretty much. You guys going to see right now. So I can name this function anything else. I can just like write this function. I'm just going to do test, okay? And it has to be parentheses, and you make a little two dots here. I think it's called semicolon. I'm not sure. But anyway, define test. All right. So within this little function here, I want to write what the function actually does. So I wanted to let's see. Let me do print. Let me see what I can do. Actually, so okay, so I know that this input is the tk.entry, which is my box. So I have to somehow get that information inside of this little box here, store it in a variable, and maybe print it out. Maybe that's what I'm imagining here. That's my line of thinking. So let's try. I'm not sure if it's gonna work out, but I'm gonna try this out. So input um, dot get. It's another function that I know from this Tkinter library. So input dot get is so input. What is my input? It's the entry box. Dot get. This function within this library will get the information stored inside this variable. Okay, and so I can access this information all together. I'm just gonna also put this inside another variable called info. I just want to call it info. Okay, so info, it's gonna be the input dot get. So this is gonna be this info is gonna store the information that was gathered from the box there. Okay. Next thing I'm gonna do is yeah, I'm gonna print here the info. And I'm gonna print on the screen on a terminal whatever it's inside this variable info. Okay, so this is my piece of code, you know, right here. This is a function. That's how you make a function in Python. Pretty simple. And another thing I'm gonna do, let me see. I perhaps made, okay, let's see. So, okay. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna place this function above the button. It makes more sense. Because then I have my function called test, okay? And I have my button equals tk.button. My button, it's gonna be inside my window. It has the name text.clickme. Another thing I'm gonna pass on to this is the command, which is pretty cool. And I want to do the command. It's like the command. It's an action. Okay, it's an action. When I click the button, what action or what function is it gonna execute? Got it? So this is what it's gonna do. So my button, it's inside my window. It has its name called click me, and it has a command. So the command, when I click it, I'm gonna display this piece of code right here, test, because I'm passing it. The command is gonna be upon the test function. The test function is gonna do what? It has a variable that gets the information from my entry window, my little entry box, and display on the screen. So that's the code. Let's test this out. Okay, I'm gonna do hello, hello, and I'm gonna click this. There we go. It works. Right here on the terminal, as you guys can see down the bottom. Hold on. Okay, let me run this again. So when I run this, let me close the previous windows. Okay. So I'm gonna do here, let's say code venom click. Okay. It shows on the screen right here, code venom. Isn't that cool, guys? So my little program actually works, and it's functional, you know. So when I write something over here, I click, and it keeps printing on the terminal right there. The code, the whatever I'm writing up here, you know. If I write test, it's clicking doing test. Okay. So this is pretty cool. We can get creative. We can do better things in this. So and yeah, notice, you know, like it's doing this on a terminal because the print function the print function is only for the terminal. So if we actually want to do this, you know, to actually display on the screen, we use something called label, which I'm gonna do right here. I'm gonna replace this print function. I'm just gonna go ahead and create the label. I'm gonna do tk.label. It's another widget we can use. This label, we can do text. We're gonna do info. I'll explain to you guys right now. Okay, my variable. Okay, so this label right here that I created, it's just a variable, okay? But the widget it's little this one right here. You guys have to mind the if it's uppercase or lowercase. All right, so tk.label, it's a widget that I just created, and I'm gonna pass the information. I'm gonna pass the what? The function that gets the information from the entry box. Okay, so right here, and don't forget that for every widget we gotta pack it. Okay, so label.pack. That's what I'm gonna do here. I'm not sure if it's gonna work. This is gonna work. This line of code is gonna work. I'm not sure if it's gonna work within this function. Okay, we're gonna see right now. We're gonna test this out. Let's run. I'm gonna write code venom, and I'm gonna click. So I got an error message down here at the terminal. Maybe it's because I am not supposed to use it within the function. I'm not sure. So I'm just gonna try something else. Um, Let me see. Okay, so I'm just gonna. So in Python, why is this information here kind of spaced out? Because it matters. The spacing matters. Because this code means that it's inside this function right here. If I write it just down here like this, that means this piece of code right here. Let's see. These two lines of code right here. They are not. They're not inside of this function. Okay, so it's just independent lines of code, and that's what I want to do here. I guess um, this. So I'm creating the widget here, which gets the actual widget thing. What I'm gonna do, it's labeled the impact. So I'm not sure why it's not showing up here. The function says define test whatever variable info input.get. Okay, it has that thing. So let's see if it's if I run this is gonna work. It says info, it's not defined. Okay, it mean that's probably means okay. I think it's just and by the way, I'm not sure if it's because of the not sure if it's because of the I feel like it's gonna work. You see, like he gave me no error message, but let me see. It has this little modify using Copilot. Okay, so Copilot actually can actually work here. Like what's wrong with my code? And this is how you learn too, guys. So it says right here, the problem is that you're passing the text from the input directly to the label widget, which expects a parent widget as its first argument. You should pass the window as the first oh, okay, I get it. So see, okay. So the thing is, when I created a label, okay, the label it's pretty much the widget. It's kind of like a function too, you know. you can just write down here on this function. I can just write, I don't know, like many things right here. And these things over here inside these functions are called parameters. Okay. And I guess when they created this function or this, I don't know, class or whatever that's called within Python, they they created the parameters, and the first parameter that it expects, it's where this label is going to be at. It makes sense because we did that for the buttons, remember? Because I have to specify where is it going to go. Where is the button going to go? You know? And the same thing with the label, because he has to know where the label is going to go. It's going to go inside the window. My window variable right here, which is the actual window of the application. And then, okay. And then I want to display the info that I actually wanted to. Okay, so let's see if that's going to work right now. Okay, they didn't give me an error. So let's see if it's going to work. I'm going to do hello. Okay, it says down here, string object has no attribute items. I'm not sure what that is still, but I think it's probably, let me see here. It's probably related with this info here. I'm not sure if it's handling things well. If instead of the info, I'm just gonna write, I don't know, hello world. Let's see if that's gonna work. Okay. Okay. I have to make sure specify this is a text. Also, I know that for a fact. We need to do that. Let me close the other instances of my application. Okay, so I don't know. Write test. Hello world. Let's go. Okay, so you see, our method here is working. We just gotta figure out how to make that work because we're trying to get the information from that entry widget. Okay, and I'm storing that information inside of this variable called info, but that is not working. But when I just do a text right here, see my label, when I do text, it does work when I click. Okay, so that's the thing I have to figure out. Maybe, let's see. Maybe I have to convert that string into that info, that thing, that variable into a string. You know, sometimes Python has this kind of things, you know. So let me see here. Info str. Let's see if that's gonna work. I'm not sure. As a programmer, you have to try things out. If you really want to learn, you have to try things out. Have to do it again once. Okay, so I clicked here. Nothing, no error came up. So let me see. Hello. I'm gonna type in code random actually. Code random. Click. Okay, so it says string object has no attribute items. It's still giving me that error. I can ask Copilot, I guess, here and see if what's wrong with it. Let me see. What's wrong with my code? Okay. The problem is that the TK label constructor expects a text argument, not a string directly. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. You should pass the info string as a text argument. Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. That's something I learned right now. You see, okay, so you see, this is what it did. This is what I should have done. The label expects a text. It expects a text, you know, sort of, parameter. And I was just doing the info by itself, which is just a variable. But so where you expects a text, I guess you have to, instead of actually writing the text here, because I could just write a text here, say, hello, whatever. It's going to display that message there. But what I actually want to do, I want to display the message that the person is typing on the entry box. So, and that information is stored in that info variable. So there we go. I guess we have the application working. Code Venom. Click Code Venom. That's pretty cool. You know, that's we have a functional app so far. And this is gonna, be pretty much it for today. I don't know if I went over 20 minutes, but I'll make another video and I'll expand on that program. I'll make something better. I don't know, maybe we can, type something there and have another chat saying, I don't know, we can type like here, for example, like math, like 20 times 25, and when I click, it auto calculates for me the answer down here, like make a little mini calculator. So that's something cool we can do. Definitely knowing this, all this kind of things here, we can do a lot of things we did already. So yeah, that's the first video. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for learning with me. This is just a journey here that I'm, you know, just trying to learn Python as I explain what I already know for you guys. So that's gonna help me and hopefully help you guys too. Leave a like and subscribe. Thank you.